Konnichiwa. Hello, boys and girls. Today I want to teach you about two things about Japan. I want to talk to you about the clothes that they wear, and I want to talk to you about how they eat and what they drink in Japan. So first of all, let's talk about what I'm wearing today. It's called a kimono, and on my kimono I have a big belt. This big belt has a special name. It's called an obi, and you'll notice it ties in the back. A kimono also has very big sleeves. Do you see the big sleeves on this side and the big sleeves on this side? I don't know why they have such big sleeves. Somebody told me once that maybe it's because they didn't carry purses, and so they would carry some things inside their big sleeves. I don't know, but I have some other dolls that I wanted to show you. This is a doll, and she's wearing a beautiful kimono. Look at her long sleeves. They go almost down to her feet. And there's her obi. Her obi is beautiful. Big bow in the back. Looks like she has some drums. She's wearing a kimono. This doll's kimono is pink. I noticed some cherry blossoms on it. Most all of the kimonos will have some sort of cherry blossoms. Remember, they grow right about now. Here's some more. I don't see very many cherry blossoms on this one, but look at their big sleeves. And this is a man. His kimono is shorter, but men would wear kimonos too. They would wear their kimonos mostly when they got dressed up, but they're very traditional. I also have some very old shoes I wanted to show you. Notice these shoes look kind of like sandals that you might wear during the summertime. But in Japan, they would wear these shoes. But listen, what do you think they're made out of? They're made out of wood. These look very old, but they must be very strong because, look, they're all worn out, but we could still probably wear them. I couldn't. Maybe you could put your foot in there because they look like they're for children. So those are the kimonos I wanted to show you. I also have many children's kimonos too that are fun to play with. The other thing I wanted to teach you is that when you would be wearing your kimono, children and adults wouldn't sit crisscross applesauce. They would sit on the floor kneeling. And you remember when I showed you that sometimes we kneel up, but sometimes we kneel down? That's how they would sit on the floor. And lots of times they sit on the floor to eat. So they would sit not crisscross applesauce, but Japanese style. So you could stand up if you want to pause right now and stand up and practice sitting Japanese style. Remember that lots of times that's how they would eat. They would sit at a low table and they would kneel and they would eat at that table without a chair. Sometimes they'd have a flat mat, but sometimes they would just sit on the floor. Now, in Japan, they eat with something called chopsticks. These are chopsticks. You eat with a fork or a spoon. But a lot of times in Japan, they use chopsticks. They eat a lot of rice. They eat a lot of noodles. And the noodles are easier to pick up with chopsticks than they are with a fork or a spoon. And I bet you know that. Sometimes it's hard to pick up a noodle of spaghetti and eat it. But maybe if you got really good with chopsticks, it would be easier for you to pick it up with chopsticks. If you ever have chopsticks, what you do is you put one chopstick in your hand and it stays still. You put the other chopstick between your point of your finger and your thumb and it moves. I'm not very good with them. In fact, I don't usually, even when I eat foods from Asia, I don't usually use them because I'm not very good, but I'm getting better because I practice. The way I practice is I hold this one still and I try to tap. I just try to go tap, 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 tap. You can see sometimes I'm good, sometimes not so good. So that is what I wanted to show you about eating. The other thing I wanted to show you is they drink a lot of tea. And so they drink tea. And so I thought I'd have a little tea with you today. So I'm going to put some tea in my cup and It's a beautiful, beautiful Japanese plate and teacup, and have some tea with you. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Saranara.